Sleep is so fine.
Hey, can you hear them? That's so hilarious. Hello, everybody, and we are live with two wonderful people. With me today, welcome Nihan and Astrid. Hmm. And we are going to talk about one of my personal favorite books on the world, which is Divorceless Relationships. What if you didn't have to divorce you to be in relationships? And I don't know you ladies, but personally, before, I'm gonna say, like, especially with the tools of access consciousness, I constantly was divorcing me, judging me, and separating from any part that didn't fit to the person's reality that I am relationship with, as though if I'm able to cut all the parts and pieces that the other person judge is wrong, bad, and terrible, that the relationship will work and they would be happy. And I would do this and I would actually separate from all the pieces and parts of me that the other person thought it was bad, terrible, and wrong. But it wouldn't be sustainable because I actually didn't have me. Hmm. Yeah. And 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 how was it for you, ladies? Like, were you always good being you, having fun?
I'll let Astrid go first.
Okay. Yeah, I have a very similar story like yours. No, I was so good in giving me up in relationships. No, and I had a relationship with with them two children, and I went to a point where even in my home, everything I did, I eliminated, and I was like, yes, I wasn't there anymore. No, I cut it off so much from me. And the strange thing is, um, I cut it off all the things that my partner, when he fell in love with me, this were the things he was asking for. And yeah, I felt very, very lost. And
And actually, I just want to, like, just underline that what you said, because it's huge. Like when Astrid said she cut off the parts and pieces that her partner that actually fall in, the reason that he fall in love with Astrid, or she fall in love with Astrid, I don't know, and and like, this is something that we, I'm gonna say, like, so often do. Like, we cut these parts and pieces that we decided is wrong, bad, and terrible without even asking the person that we are in relationship with, going, hey, actually, like, I'm going to cut these parts and pieces because I think if I cut these parts and pieces, it's going to make you happy. Like, what do you think? Like, and the person may go, hey, actually, you know what, this is the parts that I love. And that could be like you flirting with someone else, like you being that sexual energy. And like when I talk about sexual energy, it's nothing to do with copulation. It's being that joyful, happy, expansive, growing, magnificent, that exuberant energy that you be when you are being you. And one of the things that I see most often, and this could be with romantic relationships, and I love that you talk with the relationships with your daughters, Astrid, because like then you, like, it's not because like just romantic relationships, we actually do this in every part of every kind of relationships. It could be our relationship with our mom and dad, it could be our relationships with our partner or friends. Like, that was one of the areas that I personally was my favorites, that I would cut all the parts and pieces of me, and I would actually like choose specifically people that was going to judge me and actually was did have the same judgments that I have of myself. Like, and they would perfectly fit into my reality because I already decided like this is wrong. And then I would see someone, and one of the things, like, we're so energetic, we actually know the exactly people that will stop us. We know those people that have the same judgment that we have of ourselves. And that's one of the things that Gary said in his classes. Like, if you see someone and if you are like having like passionate about them, they're like, I have to have that person, or I have to be with that person, or it could be I have to be friends with this person. Like, if I be with that person, like, my whole life will be wonderful and magical and amazing. And then you running away. Like, if you have that passionate feeling, like Gary says, like, actually run to the other direction, because usually that's are the people that we have been like with this lifetime or many lifetimes together. And actually these are the people that we are energetically attractive, because they are some way somehow that actually are matching the judgments that we have and the limitations that we have of ourselves. And for me personally, like, you may be wondering, like, if you're listening to the live now or in the future, so okay, like, what I am going to do now, like, I am starting to acknowledge, I would say, like, the first step is actually starting to acknowledge, like, do you divorce you in your relationships, and how much of you that you divorce to be in the relationships that you are currently in. And I would say, like, one of the ways to start acknowledging that is, like, where do you cut what you would like to choose, and what makes you happy and what lights you up, because other people will judge you, or because other people would have a point of view about that's wrong, or maybe they will separate from you. And that was one of the biggest things that I was using to hold myself back, was, if I choose this, what would other people think? And I grew up in Turkey, and I know Nihan grew up in Turkey, and I'm not sure, like, how is that in Germany, Astrid? Or I think you were born in Italy, was it?
No, I'm from Germany, but I lived 15 years in Italy. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the way around. So, like, in Turkey, it's such a big thing. Like, oh, like, what other people will think if I choose this?
What
Did you
will the
want
neighbors say?
Yeah. What would the neighbor say? What would my friend think? And this is actually all the places, like, when you actually starting to think all of these things. And there's a new tool in Access, which is the cognitive dissonance, like, where you're all like trying to figure out everything instead of choosing what works for you and what makes you happy.
Yeah, and I'll say I grew up in Turkey like you did, and now I live in Canada, and I successfully brought those patterns with me to Canada, where there are people who don't ask me to cut off parts of myself. Oh, but I will do, because, that was my definition of relationship, of any kind of relationship, not just romantic. And the romantic one, it gets intensified, but even with friendships, I so successfully go find those people. And there's this sense of like, oh, if I don't please them, there's a missing out. So now thanks to the tools, I'm catching that restless feeling and asking questions. And this week I'm hanging out with a friend, and last night he was like, oh, okay, so what are you doing? Shall we run some bars? And I was like, actually, I was going dancing. And I know he doesn't go dancing. And then I was like, but I don't have to. And he's like, no, lady, you're going to go to your dance. We don't have to hang out. And I did go to my dance. He even gave me a ride. And then today, my life is greater and our friendship is stronger. But I was so willing to, like, okay, you know what? I don't have to go dancing. And he was like, no. He uses the tools as well. So he caught me. He was like, you're doing that thing when you're cutting off parts of yourself.
Yeah.
But I know
actually,
you're so much happier when you do go dancing. So just go.
and that is a friend, that actually a person that, instead of going, oh, like, I want to swap bars now, And if you haven't Get Your Bars Done, that's a little commercial or whatever you call it. Get Your Bars Done. It's one of the biggest gifts, and actually I would say one of the biggest contributions to me to start not divorcing myself, and actually starting to acknowledge like what is true for me, and how beautiful that actually you now have a person in your life, instead of saying, hey, like if you choose to go dancing, like I'm going to separate from you. And that was my experience. And how many of you like listening now or in the future that actually expect people to separate from you, to judge you, to make you wrong, and actually to force you to choose what works for them, even if though that doesn't work for you. And like that was my experience with relationships, and I was used to that energy. Like when I actually choose what works for me, the other people would go, oh, okay, now I'm going to separate from you, I'm going to make you wrong, and I'm going to not talk with you because you didn't do what I want. Instead of going, hey, what would you like to choose, Nihan? Like, what would you like to choose, Astrid? What would be fun for you? Like, I will absolutely love to run bars, but if you like to go dancing, we can run bars tomorrow. Like, there's always a different possibility available. And and I'm gonna say, like, it's one of the things that I most love about the tools of Access Consciousness, because in this reality, usually we are referred to like find someone that's gonna be that for us. Like looking to there's just a little feedback. I'm not sure what. And do you ladies hear that or no? Okay. Wonderful. So like we have been entrained to find that outside of us, as though if we find it, then we will have that. Instead of with Access Consciousness, it always invites us to use the tools on yourself first, like having allowance of yourself first, because if you don't have allowance of you, you can actually not have allowance of other people, or someone have allowance of you cannot show up in your life. And when I personally started to not divorce me and actually making different choices and using the phenomenal tools and clearings from this book, which totally changed my whole life, that's why I'm actually going to start a book club in 2 days for 10 weeks. And if you like to jump on and join us, we can pop the link into the chat or comments. And yeah, and actually when I started to make that choice to go, hey, do you know what? I am not gonna divorce me to make other people happy, which never worked anyway, because can you make anyone happy or can you make anyone upset? Not really. They have to choose it. And when I was willing to be that for me, then I had so much more people that showing up in my life, that the way Nihan said, that was willing to support me, contribute to me, and actually to be me and choose what works for me.
You know, without the tools in this book, it wasn't a possibility for me to have people in my life whose presence makes me greater, rather than me having to cut off parts of myself. And now there's that possibility, and it's already showing up. And every time I read this book, which is always, I constantly am reading the book, it's like a balm to my being, to my body. Because I don't know about you, but I have abused myself in relationships, in the name of relationships. And reading this book, using the tools in this book, it's like it brings this kindness.
Yeah, and that is a huge topic, like where we actually use relationships to abuse ourselves, and actually which in the relationships that we are, that how much we are get abused. And it could be like all kind of abuse, and like it could be like judgment, like that is actually abuse, like when someone is judging you, making you wrong, and like there's so much more to it, and like we won't be able to go that deeply in this Facebook Live, but absolutely, if you are looking to dive deeper, you can. I will highly recommend, like even if you are not coming to the book club, to buy the book itself. Like if you are out there and you find yourself in place that you divorce you to be and have people in your life, and if you're aware that it's not working for you anymore, and if you're looking to change that, to read the book, and if you like to have some support and actually able to ask your questions, because like that's one of the things that we do in the book clubs. Like I'm not going to read the book, I'm actually going to pick different topics, or maybe if anybody is that week read the book and have any specific questions, we will be able to go deeper in different topics and be able to explore that further, and I will be giving my insights about that topic that we are talking about. So I'm personally very, very excited about this book club, because it's just it contributed to me so much to not divorce me and have me in my relationships. And today I actually do have so many beautiful and wonderful people around me that do support me and make my life so much more greater. And yeah, like, and I just want to say, like, it's possible for all of us. And even if you're in a place that you're like, hey, I'm keep choosing people that doesn't work, keep choosing people that's abusing me or using me or not honoring me, just so you know, like there is actually tools available that may contribute to you to start creating something different in your life. Come check it out. And how does it get any better? Is there anything else that you ladies would like to add before finishing up?
Yes, we have some languages, no?
Yeah, that's correct.
So if you don't want to join only just in English, we have
yeah, we have French translation confirmed, and the book is translated to German and Spanish. So if you require translation, please contact with us, and we will see what is possible there. And I'm sure we will be able to find someone that's happy to translate the book club for you. Beautiful.
yes, and I'm so happy because I had this book in my Audible library and I didn't heard it yet. No, and I dived into it, and it is so, yes, it's so amazing. To step from reaction. First, I was in reaction, then I went into I have to fight what the other one wants, and now I'm so much more in allowance for myself and even for the other one. It's changing so much, and I'm so excited where we will go in this 10 weeks. No, it's one time in the week.
Yeah, it's going to be every Thursday for 10 weeks. And yeah, and it's like, it's just like so much to explore. Like even like with one words that you lady are saying, I'm like, there's like a whole universe to explore. Like when you were talking about like fighting, because like how much I know, like I would go into defending, fighting against, like as though like that's the way to not divorce me. But one of the things is like when you do go into resistance or reaction or alignment or agreement, you're actually making that as a solidity, and you're just going into the like one side or to the other one instead of being on the edge, which allows you to have choice. And I get that's one of the things, like it's my target to really with this book club, like where you actually get to have choice in your relationships instead of being in reactions, instead of fighting, instead of trying to prove yourself or getting it right, like where you actually have relationships that is a choice, and where you go, hey, I actually get to be with this person. How the fuck did I get so lucky, and how does it get any better than this?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nihan and Astrid, for being here with me. I'm super grateful for you ladies, and thank you so much for everybody that's watching. I hope this live contributed to you in some way, and if you get to come to the book club, we warmly invite you. Beautiful. Bye, everyone.
Wow.